All right. Get ready to dive deep into this Drink Champs interview with Dr. Dre and Snoop.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long one, so buckle up.
Absolutely.
But so much good stuff in here, way beyond music.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking creative process, the evolution of hip-hop, wild Snoop stories, and even a peek into their business moves.
It's a masterclass, really, in creativity, collaboration, impact.
You know, one thing that really struck me was Dr. Dre's just raw passion for music.
Yeah.
After decades in the game, he still talks about it.
I know.
With this, excitement, like he's just starting out.
Totally. Like that plumber analogy, remember?
Oh, yeah. He compared it to a plumber taking pride in their craft.
Exactly.
Which I thought was so cool.
Yeah. But it's deeper than just an analogy, right?
Oh, for sure.
It speaks to finding that fulfillment in your work no matter what you do.
Absolutely.
And both Dre and Snoop, they talked a lot about brotherhood.
Yeah.
Mutual respect in their collaboration.
That really came through.
And it reminds you, when you're working with people you trust, respect the work, it becomes more than just a job.
You're building something together.
Exactly. It's meaningful.
And speaking of that creative spark, did you catch that part where Dr. Dre was talking about the 12 notes?
Oh, yeah.
It kind of blew my mind.
Me too.
That he was basically geeking out about how all music, from classical to hip-hop,
it all comes from the same...
is built from the same 12 notes.
Building blocks.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
It really is.
It shows how limitations can actually breed innovation, you know?
What do you mean?
Like, think about it in your own work.
Okay.
Sometimes having those constraints, they force you to be more resourceful.
Oh, I see.
More creative.
Yeah.
And you come up with innovative solutions you wouldn't have thought of otherwise.
Interesting way to look at it.
Right.
Now, can we talk about Snoop's story about the Olympics?
Oh, man.
That had me cracking up.
Classic Snoop.
When he just casually tells Noriega he'd meet him at the Olympics.
I know.
And Noriega's thinking it's some kind of code word.
Yeah.
Right. And it turns out...
And Snoop's
talking about the actual...
The literal
Olympic game.
He's just there.
It's classic Snoop.
Globe-trotting, making connections.
Yeah.
It's not by chance, though, you know?
What do you mean?
Think about it. Snoop is always building his brand.
Okay.
Chrysler, Corona, his cooking show with Martha Stewart, his cannabis brand.
That's true. He's everywhere.
He's a master at connecting with different audiences.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit.
Right.
Talk about that moment where they discussed the Deep Cover remix.
Okay.
With Big Pun and Fat Joe.
Right.
Now, for those who may not know...
The 90s.
The 90s were a time
of intense rivalry.
East Coast, West Coast.
Between the East Coast and West Coast rap scenes.
Big time.
So for Snoop to feature on that track...
Huge.
Was a big deal.
Yeah.
It showed that collaboration and respect could transcend those regional boundaries. Exactly.
You have to remember, hip-hop was still evolving back then.
Absolutely.
These kinds of collaborations helped bridge the divide.
Pushing the genre forward.
And it wasn't just about geography. Dr. Dre was very clear about his focus on the artist and the music itself.
Yeah.
He even shared that story about producing Phone Tap for the firm.
Oh, yeah. With Nas, AZ, and Nature.
Didn't even discuss money with them.
It was about the art.
It was all about the art.
That's Dre in a nutshell, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Meticulous. Pushing those artists.
Prioritizing the music.
His dedication shaped the sound of hip-hop.
Huge influence.
Makes you think, how would that approach translate to your own field?
Oh, wow.
Prioritizing the work above all else.
That's a great question.
Yeah, what drives you? What kind of impact do you want to make?
It makes you think.
And it's clear both Dr. Dre and Snoop are focused on legacy.
Oh, yeah.
Not just through their music.
Snoop talked about performing at the Super Bowl as a win for hip-hop.
A win for the culture.
Encouraging artists to celebrate each other's success.
Powerful message.
Instead of feeling entitled.
And it ties into this idea of paying it forward.
Yeah.
It's not just about you.
Right.
It's about using your success to uplift the whole community.
And they both talk about giving back.
Snoop's Youth Football League.
Yeah, and all sorts of
philanthropic efforts.
It's inspiring to see them using their platform like that.
Absolutely.
It's a different side of these hip-hop icons.
And speaking of different sides, their latest collaboration has a really interesting dynamic.
Oh, tell me about it.
Snoop, who's usually in control, took on a more receptive student role this time.
Wow.
Trusting Dre's guidance.
And didn't Snoop initially want to finish the whole album in 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Hilarious. Shows their contrasting work styles.
Totally.
But it highlights the power of partnerships, you know.
How so?
Sometimes the best results come from stepping outside your comfort zone, letting yourself be guided.
I can see that.
By someone you trust.
And then Snoop described Dre's production process as
cooking the dish in front of everyone.
I love that. Bringing
everyone and everything in the room into the creative process.
So different from those
isolated producers.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a
collaborative energy.
Yeah.
Everyone feels ownership of the final product.
Think about it.
Musicians, engineers, songwriters.
Maybe even friends and family.
It's a melting pot.
Speaking of melting pots.
Okay.
Snoop's hypothetical scenario.
Yeah.
About saving humanity.
Oh, man.
With a single record.
Classic Snoop.
He said he'd enlist Dr. Dre, Quincy Jones, and Marvin Gaye.
What a lineup.
With God as the executive producer.
Only Snoop would say that.
Such a Snoop Dogg answer.
But it's insightful too, right?
Oh, for sure.
Shows his musical values.
The artists he really respects.
Dre, Quincy Jones, Marvin Gaye.
Imagine that studio.
The energy would be incredible.
Dr. Dre's production, Quincy Jones's arrangements.
Marvin Gaye's vocals.
Overseen by
divine inspiration.
This Drink Champs episode actually gave us a sneak peek at some of their upcoming tracks.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Gorgeous, Out the Blue, Thank You, Mary Jane, Not the Last Dance.
Mary Jane, Not the Last Dance, okay.
That one really caught my attention.
That's interesting. It actually samples Tom Petty's vocals.
Really?
Dre got permission from Petty's family, built a whole new beat around the vocals.
Wow.
Kept the original harmonica. And then brought in Jelly Roll to sing the second verse.
Wow. What a mix.
Right. Blending those influences.
Creating something fresh.
And, you know, for someone who's been at the top for so long.
Yeah.
Dre clearly isn't afraid to experiment.
Push those boundaries.
Exactly.
And that willingness extends beyond the music.
What do you mean?
Remember that conversation about the Crip Walk and Blood Walk?
Oh, yeah.
Things got pretty deep for a minute there.
It did. Another layer of their impact.
Oh, for sure.
They're not just musicians.
Right.
They're cultural figures, using their platform to address these important social issues.
And Snoop was careful to clarify that the dance represents both gangs.
And it's evolved.
Become more about cultural unity than division.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Reminding us to be mindful of context.
History behind these expressions.
Don't jump to conclusions.
It's a complex topic.
And I appreciate them using their platform to educate.
Promote understanding.
Absolutely.
But for all the serious topics they covered, they managed to keep it light and entertaining too.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know that story about Stevie Wonder FaceTiming Dr. Dre at 5 a.m?
Crying.
I was dying.
Classic.
Apparently Stevie needed help.
Sending a text message.
Not sending a text message.
Even musical geniuses need tech support.
It's a reminder that these larger-than-life figures...
They're still human.
Are still human at the end of the day.
And it makes the interview even more engaging.
Absolutely. And N.O.R.E's closing statement really stuck with me.
Which one was that?
He said, when Dre is making music, life is better.
So true.
Such a simple statement, but so true.
There's something about Dre's music.
It just elevates.
It really does.
Everything.
It speaks to the power of creativity, its ripple effects.
When
artists like Dre and Snoop are active, engaged, their work inspires us, uplifts us.
It makes the world a better place. It makes you appreciate their impact.
But let's be honest.
Okay.
This interview wasn't all deep thoughts and profound statements.
Oh, no, not at all.
Remember when N.O.R.E thought Straight Outta Compton was a prison?
Oh my gosh, yes. He was scared of N.W.A.'s music back in the day.
So funny.
Hilarious now.
But it speaks to the power of their music.
Evoking such strong emotions.
Dre himself said their goal was to get a reaction, you know?
Yeah.
Fear, anger, excitement, whatever.
No boundaries.
Creating an experience.
And they're still doing that today.
Absolutely.
In their own way.
Not afraid to tackle tough topics.
Like that Crip Walk, Blood Walk conversation.
In their platform.
To promote understanding.
Exactly.
And they're not afraid to laugh at themselves either.
Oh, of course not.
Remember when Dre was embarrassed?
About N.O.R.E remembering I'm leaving.
Oh, yeah. Like, you played that for me back in the day.
No.
Or when Snoop was talking about having a cereal called Snoop Loops.
And his friendship with Martha Stewart.
It's like he's living in his own reality show.
And we're all just along for the ride.
Exactly.
But don't forget about the business side of things, too.
Oh, right.
Their partnership with Jimmy Iovine.
The Interscope executive.
Their relationship seems so strong.
Based on mutual respect, love of music.
What's interesting is that Iovine comes from a producer background himself.
I didn't know that.
Worked with Springsteen, John Lennon.
Legends.
So he gets the creative process from both sides.
That's got to be valuable.
Makes you wonder how much of their success can be attributed to having him in their corner.
Someone who gets the music but also understands the business.
Powerful combination.
Don't forget about Dr. Dre's own entrepreneurial spirit.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when they were talking about his tequila, gin and juice?
Noriega couldn't stop talking about how smooth it was.
He wanted to make it the official drink of Drink Champs.
Brilliant move by Dre, leveraging his brand, his influence.
It's a gin and juice. I mean, come on.
Marketing genius.
It's catchy, it's playful.
And captures the essence of the brand.
Beyond the tequila, the business deals. It's clear that both Dre and Snoop are at a point in their careers
where legacy matters.
Where legacy is a major focus.
Think about Snoop's hypothetical about the record To Save Humanity.
Oh, yeah.
He chose Dre, Quincy Jones, Marvin Gaye.
God as the executive producer.
I just felt intentional.
Like a statement about the music that has the power to heal and unite.
Exactly.
And the fact that he included Dre
speaks volumes
about their bond, their commitment to creating music that matters.
Absolutely.
And then that conversation about the evolution of gang culture.
Crip walk, blood walk.
Sensitive topic, but they handled it well.
Snoop's explanation that the dance has evolved to be about unity, not division.
Important reminder about the layers of meaning and context behind these expressions.
We need to be aware of that.
Absolutely.
They're using their platform to educate,
promote, understanding.
And yet, they still kept things light.
Oh, yeah.
It's those little moments
that remind us they're human too.
Exactly.
And that's what makes this interview so special.
Do you see them as real people?
With their quirks, their humor, their unique perspectives.
Inspiring, entertaining.
Makes you feel like you know them better.
And hopefully it inspires you to go create something amazing.
Build your own legacy.
Make your mark on the world.
Well said.
We've only scratched the surface of this interview, though.
Oh, I know.
So much more to unpack.
Buckle up.
Get ready for part 2. It's fascinating to see how Dr. Dre's approach to producing has evolved over the years. You know, he started out with this very specific vision.
Oh, yeah.
Of having just one producer per album.
Right.
And that's how we got those classic NWA, Snoop Dogg, and Eminem albums.
Each with a unique sound.
Yeah, so cohesive.
He actually called it naivete at the time.
I know.
Which is funny to think about now.
Right.
Considering how influential that approach became.
Exactly.
But as he's matured as a producer, he's embraced more collaborative projects.
Like 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying.
Yeah, even trading tracks with Swiss Beats.
And speaking of Swiss Beats, did you catch that part?
Oh, yeah.
Where they were talking about hypothetical producers versus battles?
Producer battles, yeah.
Dre and Snoop said they'd go up against Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Interesting choice.
It gives you insight into their influences, right?
Yeah.
Who they consider to be the top producers.
They're great.
They even shouted out Timbaland.
Oh, yeah.
For inspiring Dre with those double-time beats.
Humbly.
Right? Even the greats have their sources of inspiration.
Absolutely.
People they admire.
Let's talk about those snippets of upcoming tracks we heard.
All right, let's do it.
Gorgeous is already out.
It's got that smooth, laid-back vibe, you know.
Perfect for cruising on a sunny day.
Exactly.
But Out the Blue is the one that's making waves.
Oh, why's that?
It was in that new Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz movie on Netflix.
Back in action.
Yeah, and it's been in Madden 25.
Wow. Talk about getting your music out there.
Seriously. Hitting multiple audiences.
Smart move.
But, thank you.
Yeah.
The one Dre was hesitant to share.
Because it's not finished.
Yeah.
That's the one that got to me.
Me too.
Even in its raw form.
You can feel the emotion.
In Snoop's lyrics.
And that's what makes Dre such a master.
He captures those emotions, translates them into music.
That resonates with people.
On a deep level.
Of all the snippets, though, Mary Jane, Not the Last Dance?
The one with the Tom Petty sample?
Yeah, that's the one that has everyone buzzing.
It's brilliant.
The way he blends Petty's vocals with this fresh new beat.
Pure genius.
It's a testament to his creativity.
Pushing those boundaries.
While still paying homage to a legend.
And did you know there's a 10-minute short film that goes with the album?
I did hear that, yeah.
Narrated by Method Man?
A dream team.
It's clear this project is more than just an album, right?
Yeah.
It's an experience.
Music, visuals, storytelling.
Speaking of storytelling, let's circle back to that Straight Outta Compton conversation.
You mean the part where Noriega thought it was a prison?
I know, so funny.
It speaks to their impact, though, right?
Absolutely. Their music was raw, real, and for some people, scary.
Dre explained their goal was to evoke a reaction.
Make people feel something.
Whether it was fear, anger, excitement.
Pushing the envelope, challenging the status quo.
And they're still doing that today.
In their own way, yeah.
They're not afraid to tackle tough topics.
Like that Crip Walk, Blood Walk conversation.
Using their platform to promote understanding and unity.
Exactly.
And they're not afraid to laugh at themselves either.
Oh, no, not at all.
Remember when Dre was embarrassed that Noriega remembered playing I'm Leaving for him?
You played that for me back in the day.
So funny.
Or Snoop talking about having a cereal called Snoop Loops.
His relationship with Martha Stewart.
The guy is everywhere.
Living in his own reality show.
We're just along for the ride.
But we can't forget about the business side of things.
Right.
Their partnership with Jimmy Iovine.
The Interscope executive.
Yeah, their relationship seems so strong.
Built on mutual respect, a love of music.
What's interesting is that Iovine comes from a producer background himself.
Yes.
Worked with Bruce Springsteen, John Lennon.
Legends.
So he understands the creative process from both sides.
That's got to be invaluable.
Makes you wonder how much of their success can be attributed to having him in their corner.
Right.
Someone who gets the music, but also the business.
Powerful combination.
And let's not forget about Dr. Dre's entrepreneurial spirit.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Gin and Juice, his tequila?
Noriega was raving about it.
He wanted to make it the official drink of Drink Champs.
This is a brilliant move.
Leveraging his brand and his influence.
Gin and Juice, come on, that's genius.
It's catchy, playful.
It captures the essence.
Beyond the tequila, the business deals.
Mm-hmm.
It's clear both Dre and Snoop are at a point in their careers where legacy is a major focus.
You're right.
Think about Snoop's hypothetical about that record, To Save Humanity.
Okay.
Dre, Quincy Jones, Marvin Gaye.
God, as the executive producer.
Felt so intentional.
Like he was making a statement about music that heals, unites.
Exactly.
And that he included Dre in that lineup says a lot about their bond.
Their commitment to making music that matters.
And then that conversation about gang culture.
Crip Walk, Blood Walk.
It was sensitive, but they handled it well.
Snoop's explanation that the dance has evolved.
They be about unity, not division.
It's a reminder that we need to be aware of the context.
The history.
Behind these cultural expressions.
Oh, absolutely.
They're using their platform to educate.
Promote, understand.
But, you know, for all the serious topics, they still kept it light.
Stevie Wonder needing help sending a text.
Right.
It's those moments that remind us they're human too.
Exactly. That's what makes this interview so special.
We see them as real people.
Their quirks, their humor, their unique perspectives.
It's inspiring, entertaining.
Makes you feel like you know them better.
And hopefully it inspires you to go create something amazing.
Build your own legacy, make your mark.
Absolutely.
But we've got more to discuss.
We do?
Those upcoming tracks, gorgeous, Out the Blue, thank you.
Mary Jane, Not the Last Dance.
That 10-minute short film narrated by Method Man.
There's so much more to explore.
Let's jump into part 3.
Okay, let's rewind for a sec and talk about those upcoming tracks.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. That's already out.
It's classic Snoop, that smooth vibe.
That laid-back flow.
Makes you want to cruise down the highway.
On a sunny day.
Yeah, exactly.
But Out the Blue, that's the one making waves.
Oh, yeah, it was in that new Jamie Foxx, Cameron Diaz movie.
On Netflix.
Back in action. And it was in Madden 25, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Talk about hitting multiple audiences.
Smart move.
Strategically placing their music in those mainstream outlets.
Exposing their sound to a whole new generation.
People who might not be familiar with their work.
Yeah, it's like they're reaching out saying, hey, we're still here.
We're still innovating.
But thank you, even unfinished.
Dre was hesitant to share it.
Yeah, because it's not finished.
But even in its raw form, it's so powerful.
You can feel the emotion in Snoop's lyrics.
It's a testament to Dre's perfectionism.
For sure.
He wants it just right before it's out there.
And then there's Mary Jane, Not the Last Dance.
The one that everyone's talking about.
A Tom Petty sample. Brilliant.
It's like he reached into music history.
Pulled out a hidden gem.
Polished it up, gave it new life.
And he got permission from Tom Petty's family to use the vocals.
Really?
Yeah, you can tell he respects Petty's legacy.
He's not just trying to capitalize on a familiar sound, you know.
He's creating something new.
Unexpected. And
that 10-minute short film?
Narrated by Method Man.
A visual feast, I bet.
Sounds like it.
This whole project,
It's a labor of love.
decades of experience.
In the music industry.
But also their evolution as artists.
They're not content to just rest on their laurels, you know?
They keep pushing those boundaries.
Exploring new creative avenues.
And that's what makes them so inspiring.
They take risks, they experiment.
Challenge the status quo.
Creativity has no limits.
And they remind us that success isn't just about individual achievement.
Right.
It's about building a legacy, lifting others up.
Making a positive impact on the world.
Snoop's Youth Football League, all their philanthropy.
That conversation about the Crip Walk and Blood Walk.
Using their voices to address social issues, promote understanding.
The powerful stuff.
Reminds us that we all have a responsibility.
To use our platforms.
No matter how big or small.
To make a difference.
We can all be agents of change.
In our own way.
But let's not forget the lighter moments of the interview.
Of course not. There were plenty.
N.O.R.E thinking Straight Outta Compton was a prison.
Oh, man, that was classic.
Hilarious now, but it shows you the impact of their music, right?
Absolutely.
It was raw, it was real, for some, scary even.
Dre said they wanted to get a reaction.
Make people feel something.
And they did.
And then there was Dre being embarrassed that N.O.R.E remembered playing I'm Leaving for him.
You played that for me back in the day.
So funny.
Those moments of vulnerability.
It makes him more relatable.
More likable.
Speaking of relatable,
okay.
Stevie Wonder needing help sending a text.
Even musical geniuses need tech support.
It's those little things that remind us they're just like us.
Just regular people.
And that's what makes this whole interview so special.
We see these iconic figures as real people.
Their quirks, their humor, their unique perspectives.
Inspiring. Makes you feel like you know them a little better.
And hopefully it inspires you to go out and create something amazing.
Build your own legacy.
Make your mark on the world.
Well said.
That's a perfect note to end on.
It is.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg.
It's been a pleasure.
Be sure to check out their new album when it drops on December 13th.
It's going to be epic.
Until next time, keep diving deep.